Hello, and welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. For this episode, I thought I would share with you something I've been practicing that I've found a lot of fun. And it's pretty typical for things I like to practice when looking at scales of chords, starting out the day. I try to find something that is just pushing a little bit outside of what I've done and is going to expand my thoughts, and also is a kind of a puzzle for me to work out and get used to. So I was doing this. This is kind of the core sound. It's one of these things that's complicated at first, but then when you see the way it works, it's not as complicated. That's a pretty one. What is this one? That's pretty. So I'm going to share the thinking and then expand upon it. The core thought is I have a drop 2, and I'm borrowing on the top note. So drop 2s are this. This is in A flat major 6, and borrowing on top, like a little suspension figure, right? And then some of them get kind of stretchy. All the way down. Now I'm doing that, but then here's where the really interesting stuff happens. Is I'm looking at the top end, and I'm seeing that this is a shell chord, which I could move down, but that'll get kind of stretchy maybe. That's not bad. But instead what I did was this. So I went shell chord. This is a low shell. Remember, a shell, what I'm calling a shell is I take a note. This is the 3rd of A flat major 6, so then I would go to the 5th, the 6th, and the root of A flat major 6. I'm going to skip one of those middle notes. So either, in this case, 3rd, 5th root, or 3rd, 6th root. But not all of those, because I can't fit both of these on the same string. So I'm going to go. And it has a really pretty sound to it. And then that was the high shell. Sorry, the low shell. Okay, that's a pretty sound, but then the high shell. See, it's almost the same. See? Or, and switching between them is pretty. Especially I like going from low to high when descending, and high to low when ascending. I do that a lot. But what I'm doing here is, and then I'm viewing this as a low shell, and I switch to a high shell, and then you see, and then I do that. Got a little kind of arpeggio pattern that is going 2nd string, 5th string, 4th and 3rd, 2nd, and then I do the same thing on the next. See, that's the move. Keeping the bass note happening, so that's an oblique motion, but then making a little bit of contrary motion, so like that's a little oblique motion in those voices, contrary motion in those voices, and parallel motion in these voices. So it's combining oblique, parallel, and contrary motions into this composite whole that makes it sound like independent voices moving, which is really nice. So I could go like, I think I first did it at the beginning of All the Things You Are, and then I was like, what was that? And had to analyze it. So it goes, so. And that would be the first 2 chords. If I wanted to do that not so rhapsodic and slow, it could be. through. But nice intro. You know, you can keep going with this. That was the dominant 7 flat 5. And then whoops. That's just moving through the whole thing. I mean, just doing on each chord, which I'm not going to get into. That's all the chords of the first 8 bars or so, or almost, of All the Things You Are. But the next thing I did, so I liked this, and I was like, okay, that's drop 2. What about drop 3? Drop 3, this is drop 3. I gotta know those to do this next thing. In a drop 3, I have a high shell up on top. And what my ear, I'm not like sticking to a rule, I just let my ear kind of run the game. And I went borrow on top. I'm always doing that because I like that here. Now a shell chord, if I go down the elevator, goes to a triad and then down to a third. So that's what I decided to do. And my ear just kind of worked that out because I've practiced these movements, the elevator relationships, so much that my ear could kind of lead me. This one. And then what about... See, what if it were the ending of the song? So I did the beginning. The ending is like... And then I would go like this. So that is doing the ending. I played this melody note, but I did it with the diminished underneath as a borrow note. You know, and you could do it longer. You know, you could do one on the on chord. And that would be nice, that same melody note, but now with the original move, drop 2, it would be like this. Now it would be... something like that, which is really pretty. So that is playing the ending melody note of All the Things You Are with borrowed things. Now with the diminished underneath, so it's a borrowed note on a diminished, and then doing this move out of it. Now maybe I'll make a little PDF of this stuff because this is nice. Maybe I'll put it on my Patreon. It might take me a couple days to get to it, but I might do that. Now that was drop 2, drop 3. Now what about drop 2 and 4? Drop 2 and 4. Here's a drop 2 and 4, drop 2 and 4, drop 2 and 4. So moving down some. All right, so now I'm going to go. And then what my ear likes is this. This is what I did when I looked at this. Yeah, so it's... those are really pretty too. And what I'm doing there is something, again, I'm following my ear. So here, so the way I thought about this is kind of, I guess and then I did, yeah, so this is like a drop 2 without this voice here, right? So I'm seeing this, and then I go move that drop 2 down. So I'm actually going just to a straight up drop 2 but it's a diminished note, but then I have my original bass. And I go to another drop 2, but I only pluck, I skip the 3rd string on that because I like the sound of this. Do you hear how? So that goes, so it goes dee dim, and then like that. You know, and those are pretty. And you could do octave chords too. You could be like, maybe I won't. That's hard. Maybe the next one's easier. It is easier. That's pretty. So I'm just working it out, and this stuff happens pretty fast if you've practiced the elevator a lot. It's really worth doing. And then one last thing. So then I put this into a fun, it's not even an exercise to me, it's just beautiful music. See, the thing is, I put a couple of these in musical examples now, so folks that really want to hear it in a tune, I did it in All the Things You Are at the beginning and at the end. But I think it's really important for us to hear music just where it exists and not require something like put it in a tune I know. So I love the sound of this just in itself. It's music to me. And I think that helps my musicianship to recognize that and not need anything more. I think that helps me to see that. I could be wrong. But so I did something like this. This is the idea. I went, yeah, so it's like, I put them all together. Back at the beginning. So what I did there was, this is the drop 2 one. Then I do drop 2 and 4. And then I go, that's the drop 3 one. And then another drop 2. And I'm back at the beginning. I could do it up the next. Oh, that's nice. And then I gotta go and then back there. You could also start on the diminished with this move, and that would be pretty. And you can do different combinations, like back to the beginning. Right? So I did 2 drop 2s, and then I did drop 2 and 4. And you can mix it up all you want. You could go... I did 2 drop 2 and 4s in a row. Drop 2 once, then 2 drop 2 and 4s. And then maybe I'll go back to I'll go to the drop 3 now, and then if I can figure it out. I'll do that again one more time. Oops. Pretty, huh? So that went a little longer than I anticipated, but this is a bunch of stuff that came out of the fact that I practiced shell chords a lot. I think we should all practice shell chords more than we practice drop twos this week, you know, and every week. I think it's really important because it really makes you have to, I can find my shell on top of a drop two, but I need to start looking at it in and of itself, and I need to see that this is a root, a fifth, a third, and this fifth is going to go down a whole step to a fourth. I put my diminished there. And then my major seventh, maybe I'll think it down to the sixth, and then I need to find sixth, third root. It makes me think of the scale more in a scalar way, which is really important in this whole game. That's the way I'm thinking of it when I'm playing this stuff. I'm not thinking of chords, I'm thinking of scalar movement in multiple voices. That's really what I'm doing, and I have these little structures that help me practice it, but that's the way it works. So anyway, I hope that that's been fun to follow, and I will follow up with more soon. I hope everybody is having a great start to their summer, and keep practicing.